All right, let's talk about something that causes stress for just about everyone. You wake up feeling awful, and your first thought isn't, I need to rest. It's, what are the rules? Can I get in trouble for this? Will I even get paid? Today, we're going to clear up all that confusion around sick leave, because really, knowing your rights is key for both your health and your peace of mind.
Have you ever wondered, do I really need a doctor's note for just one day off? Or am I definitely going to get paid for this? Well, if you have, you are in exactly the right place. We're about to break down all the official rules and give you some clear, simple answers.
So, let's start at the very beginning. Before we jump into doctor's notes or leave cycles or any of that, we have to get a handle on what sick leave actually is, and maybe even more importantly, what it isn't.
To put it simply, sick leave is for those days when you are genuinely too sick to do your job. But here's the most important takeaway. It is a protected right. You've got to think of it like a safety net, something that's legally there so you never, ever have to choose between getting healthy and getting your paycheck. Okay, and this is where a ton of confusion comes from. Annual leave, that's for your vacation, for rest, and yeah, it gets paid out when you leave a job. But sick leave is purely for recovery, and it does not get paid out. Understanding that one difference is the key to the whole system.
Right, so you get the basic idea, but, the rules aren't exactly the same for everybody, especially if you're the new person on the team. Let's take a look at how sick leave works during those first 6 months on the job. In this initial phase, you're kind of in a build-up period. So instead of getting a big chunk of sick days all at once, you earn them as you go. For every 26 days you put in, you bank 1 day of sick leave. It's a slow and steady process right at the start.
But then you hit that big 6-month milestone. And this is when everything changes. Suddenly, your full balance of sick leave for the entire 3-year cycle unlocks, and it's all available for you to use right away.
And this brings us to the heart of the whole system, the 3-year leave cycle. Honestly, the easiest way to picture this is like a sick leave bank account that gets a fresh deposit of days every 3 years you're with the company.
So, this bank account of yours operates on a 36-month cycle. As long as you stay with that same employer, your sick leave is all calculated inside this 3-year window. And when one cycle ends, a brand new one just begins.
So, how much is in that account? Well, for most people working a standard 5-day week, you get 30 sick days over that 3-year cycle. To put that in perspective, that's the same number of days you'd normally work in 6 full weeks. It's a pretty substantial safety net.
The way this whole thing scales is actually really simple. The rule of thumb is your total sick leave for the 3-year cycle is equal to the number of days you would normally work in a 6-week period. So naturally, if you work a 6-day week, that bumps your total up to 36 days.
Okay, so you know how many days are sitting in your sick leave bank? But what are the actual rules when you need to use one? Let's dive into the nitty-gritty of actually taking a day off.
This has got to be the #1 question people have. You're sick for just 1 day. There's no way you can drag yourself to a doctor. Do you still need that note to get paid?
The answer, and this might actually surprise you, is usually no. A doctor's note is only legally required in 2 very specific situations. First, if you're off for more than 2 consecutive days, so we're talking from day 3 onwards. Or second, if there's a pattern, like you've been sick more than twice in any 8-week stretch. Let me just repeat that because it's important. If neither of those things are true, your employer legally has to pay you. No note needed.
Now, if you do need a note, it has to come from a registered medical practitioner. What about traditional healers? Well, a note from them can also be valid, but only if they are registered with an official, recognized council. If they're not, your employer has the right to reject it.
And when it comes to your pay for that day, the rule couldn't be simpler. A valid sick day has to be paid at your full, normal wage. No deductions, no funny business, no exceptions. It's your standard day's pay, period.
Okay, but what about a really tough situation where you've burned through all the days in your sick leave bank? What happens then? Let's walk through your options.
Once your sick leave is all used up, you've got a few paths forward. The default is that any extra sick days you take are unpaid. But you can choose to use your annual leave to cover the time and get paid. And some companies might offer extra paid leave in their own policies. But just remember, that's a company perk, not a legal requirement.
And listen, this point is absolutely critical. Your annual leave is yours. An employer cannot force you to use your vacation days for sick time. That choice to dip into your annual leave when you're sick is always 100% up to you.
There's one more important little distinction we need to make.
If you get injured on the job and you're booked off for more than 3 days, that time does not come out of your regular sick leave. That situation falls under a completely separate system for workplace injuries, and it has its own set of rules for compensation.
Finally, let's cover the last piece of the puzzle. What happens when it's time to leave your job? You're moving on to a new role? What about all the sick days you carefully saved up?
The rule here is simple and it is absolute. Unlike your annual leave, unused sick leave is just not paid out when you leave your job. That sick leave bank we talked about, well, it expires the moment your employment does.
And really, this gets to the very heart of what sick leave is all about. It's not some bonus to be cashed out at the end. It's a safety net. It's there to protect you when you're vulnerable. Knowing these rules isn't just about knowing the law. It's about giving yourself the confidence to take care of your health without having to worry about your finances. So use it when you need it. That's exactly what it's there for.